Well, it seems like just yesterday we were here in Rogers Place getting ready for the Stanley Cup Final. Wait a second. We were. It was yesterday.
Toronto. This is the center of the hockey universe.
Dennis Bernstein, David Pagnotta, and our coverage of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final is brought to you by Carlsberg, probably the best beer in the world. Dennis, we're back. The Edmonton Oilers, the Florida Panthers, running it back for a second consecutive season here in the Stanley Cup Final. Two teams now very familiar with one another, two teams very deep, and two teams very hungry to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup.
Yeah, predictions are what they are, Dave, but I don't think this final is going to be 3-0 in favor of one team. I think these teams are both better than they were last season. I think we could have a better final, believe it or not. It might go 7 games again, but I think this will be a more intriguing matchup than last year.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating a 3-0 advantage for either side. No. And then 3 in a row for the opposition going to 7. This has the making of a shot-for-shot type of series. You've got two Bucks going at it, two freight trains on a collision course in this one. They're both deep. They're both physical. They're both defensive, which I think is a little bit surprising given the Oilers' history of late. But don't tell Connor McDavid that.
No.
And the goaltending has been steady on both sides of the equation. The matchup is just fantastic.
It's the two best teams remaining.
Yeah.
The two best third-place teams. So those people that want to reseed and stuff, enough of that, right? It's just you got to win 16 games in the playoffs. These teams are playing at their finest. And not only that, but both these teams will have to raise their levels in this round, Dave, because they got through the conference finals relatively easy.
Yeah, on both sides. The offense that they matched up against, the Edmonton Oilers against the Dallas Stars, wasn't there.
Right.
The Carolina Hurricanes for the Florida Panthers wasn't there. So now you've got two teams that are potent offensively, that have a physical edge to them, that have a couple different X factors that weren't in the Stanley Cup Final last year. Evander Kane. Now there's no Zach Hyman for the Edmonton Oilers, so that's going to be a bit of a factor as well. But then you've got Brad Marchand, Florida side, that the Oilers didn't have to worry about last year. So a variety of different variables in place. There were 15 players that were on these rosters last season that aren't here this season. And both teams have done a very good job in supplementing what was once on this team is now on this team this season and has impressed and improved both of these clubs.
As an example, Bill Cito, he recast the fourth line.
Yeah.
3 entirely new players, right? Still effective, still great. The bottom 6, and you got to consider Brad Marchand. And that's the one thing about Marchand. He could have come to this team, Dave, and said, I want to play with Barkov and Reinhart. He didn't do that. He accepts the role on the third line, and it's a great third line. And so, yeah, for both these teams, they're better than they were last season.
Connor Brown was said to be in the lineup yesterday. Chris Knobloch addressing the media saying that he's going to be in it. Today, bit of a different tune. Connor Brown is ill, and he is now considered a game-time decision. It doesn't sound like there's going to be any changes to Florida's expected roster to start Game 1, a little bit more healthy on that side. And as we know, and as we mentioned, no Zach Hyman for the Oilers.
And on Brown, he was out with a concussion, obviously, from the Petrovic hit. So you hope the illness is not related to that concussion, which could have him out for multiple games. Game-time decisions and sound like that. But, yeah, Zach Hyman's a big X factor that's going to be missed. His physicality this playoff run has been great for the Oilers.
Goaltending matchup.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Stuart Skinner has impressed, I would say, since rejoining the starters net. Sure. And Sergei Bobrovsky continues to be solid. But the interesting factor in this, these two, obviously, goalies faced off each other last year, Dennis. Mm-hmm. Stuart Skinner's numbers were better than Bobrovsky's, even though Sergei had a shutout. His goals against and his save percentage were better. Do they have to be considerably better in this series to give Edmonton an edge?
No, but he has to close the gap between himself and Bobrovsky, right? He has to. And look, not for nothing. If you throw out his first 2 games, he could be a Conn Smythe winner. Yeah. He's been that good. Yeah. But here's the thing. It's not that he's been that good. The defense in front of him is good. When I looked at those 6 defensemen to start the playoffs round 1 against the Kings, I'm like, how are they going to defend? They've been great. They've overachieved. And now they get Ekholm back. So I wouldn't worry too much about Stuart Skinner. What I would worry about with him, Dave, are the starts, the first 10 minutes of games. If he gives a bad goal or 2, he usually gets in a funk after that. But if he's good in the first 10 minutes of the game, he's usually good for the full 60.
Our predictions are on the site, on thefourthperiod.com. All of ours, Aaron Ward, Kate Pedersen, et cetera, everybody. We've got all our 9 picks. But let's reveal them here in case you missed it. These guys are excited for it. What do you got?
I got Oilers in 7. Connor's finally going to raise the cup.
If it goes 7, I can see the Oilers pulling it off, but I think this one goes 6. I think it's a repeat and the beginning of perhaps a dynasty for the Florida Panthers. I've got them in 6. We'll see how things transpire. We'll catch up with you before the game tomorrow here in Edmonton. Dennis Bernstein, David Pagnotta, and as mentioned, our coverage here on the fourth period of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final is brought to you by Carlsberg.